Good morning and welcome to the Talk of the Town. I'm Sonali Vanigabaduge. Joining us this morning is Dr. Deepika Udugama, Professor of Law from the University of Peradeniya, also former Chairperson of the Human Rights Commission of Sri Lanka. Good morning, Dr. Udugama.
Good morning, Sonali. Thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. Dr. Udugama, the legislative power of the people is exercised by Parliament, consisting of elected representatives of the people. But at times, we feel, is this only in theory? Is this only limited to words in the Constitution? Speak to us about the role of Parliament in a democracy and how must we ultimately ensure that public confidence is restored in the parliamentary system. And I'd like you to draw your attention to the recent Supreme Court determination on expulsion of MPs from party membership, the case of Nazir Ahmed versus SLMC.
Well, first of all, where Parliament is concerned, as we know, it's one of the three branches of government. All three branches of government, the executive, the judiciary, and the legislature, exercise our powers, people's powers. So the legislature plays a pivotal role because it's the most representative body which makes laws for the people, which debates and deliberates on national issues, which has oversight over public finances, etc. Yes, you're very right. People have lost confidence because of the manner in which parliamentarians conduct themselves. There's also this sense that, that the economic disaster that we face today is not, it was brought about by the executive branch, true, but the parliament also has a major role to play. So it's up to us, to really call for change and to ensure that we have parliament, that we have some degree of faith and confidence in it. It's a really difficult task. Now about the judgment, I think the judgment gives us at least, maybe it's the beginning of some major, change we should bring about. It tells parliamentarians, if you really don't conduct yourself in an ethical and principled manner, you can't come to court seeking protection of very noble principles like principles of natural justice. In this instance, in the case of an expulsion from the political party, you can't come to us seeking justice if you have misbehaved. You have acted in an unethical manner.
Speaking of acting in an unethical manner, the recent incident of MPs exchanging verbal abuse and altercations, it isn't an isolated incident. We've seen a lot of hooliganism in Parliament and a lot of sexism and misogyny at a time when female representation in Parliament is abysmal. How does this tie in with reforming the political culture in Sri Lanka?
Well, this is why reforming the political culture in Sri Lanka is a formidable task, because this level of erosion of, political decency is just so alarming that it will take a lot to bring it back to an acceptable level of conduct. But I think this political establishment needs to go. We need fresh faces. We need fresh political parties. That's absolutely the case, because for too long have we tolerated a lot of nonsense. Parliamentarians having fisticuffs of, beating up each other, using verbal abuse, when there are such serious matters to be discussed in a country which, after all, has declared itself bankrupt, where children are going hungry, where children are dropping out of school, where all these things are happening. We hear, this sort of very either light banter or the sort of, very rough behavior on the part of parliamentarians. And that's because I think, we are too resilient as people. Now, say, for example, there are countries where if a parliamentarian or including a cabinet minister, even the prime minister, uses bad language, let's say attacks a particular group of people, they will have to resign. They'll be forced to resign. But here, that doesn't happen. And so we say, oh, that's normal, We have people who are convicted of serious offenses sitting in parliament, and, voting for legislation for the people. So we've tolerated all of that. And I think this roughness we see is a result of the resilience of the people in the sense of tolerating too much. So we have to put our collective feet down and say enough is enough. And also elections are coming up next year. We should use the occasion to demand a different type of candidate and also, vote in a very intelligent manner so that we get at least partly the right type of candidate.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Deepika Udugama, Professor of Law, University of Peradeniya. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's back to the studio.